Welcome, curious minds. Today we're diving into some truly chilling real-life encounters. We've gathered stories from different people, first-hand accounts of things that went from normal to, terrifying, sometimes dangerous. We're going to unpack these, looking at the subtle signs, the moments things felt wrong, and maybe what we can learn.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how these different experiences often share things like that creeping unease or a sudden realization something's really off. These aren't just scary stories. They tell us a lot about instinct, about how we sense threats, sometimes before we even know why. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, first up, we're going to Norway. Happened over a decade ago. Involves a child, maybe 9 or 10 years old. They're in the living room. Mom asks them to go in their bedroom. Pretty normal stuff. But the child describes this like overwhelming feeling of dread just touching the bedroom door handle, a sense someone was watching from the window, their only window facing the driveway. They try to shake it off, paranoia maybe. But later they go back to the room and notice the window's open, just slightly. And this is where it gets really chilling. They hear scratching outside the window. They freeze, look over, and there's a man's face pressed right against the glass. Hands on either side, just staring. Staring, blankly. Maybe in his 40s, dark circles under his eyes, just staring. Utter terror. The child screams for their mother. The man vanishes. As the kid's trying to explain, the doorbell rings. The mom answers it, comes back looking really uneasy, won't let the child see who it was.
That feeling of dread the child had, it's interesting. It's like that subconscious alert system firing off way before the conscious mind catches up. It sensed the anomaly, the watcher, and the mother's reaction at the door, that unease, even her quick thinking later. It shows how powerful those gut feelings are in a crisis.
Yeah, definitely. And years later, the mom revealed what the man said. He claimed he was delivering takeout, checking the address, but they lived on this small peninsula. She recognized him from the local shop, knew instantly he was lying. No one ordered anything. She just shut him down. They moved away about a year later. The person telling this story feels their mom saved their life. And the really awful part, months after this, that same man was arrested. Murder.
Oh, wow.
A neighbor reported a horrible smell. Police found a 13-year-old girl's body decomposing in his attic. She was last seen in her bedroom.
That just sends chills down your spine, the connection.
Right. Incredible timing, that gut feeling. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From that direct physical threat to something more deceptive. Online. This story's from a woman, Amanda. Looking for her first apartment, finds a Craigslist ad. Roommate needed, females only, super cheap, private room, attached bath. Sounds perfect, right?
Almost too perfect sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only one outside photo. She emails, gets a reply really fast, like 30 minutes. Meet at 8 p.m. She gets there, and there's this handwritten note stuck to the front door. Door broken, use back door. The house looks okay from the outside, but, kind of neglected. Tall grass, dusty windows, little things.
Mm-hmm. The note, the time, the state of the yard, already setting a slightly off-kilter scene.
So she goes around back. An older guy opens the door, 40s, unshaven, also kind of unkempt. Says he's the landlord. Claims the female tenant is working late, asked him to show Amanda around. This is where her own alarm bells start kind of ringing.
Right. The landlord suddenly appearing instead of the expected female roommate, the backdoor entrance. It shifts the control dynamic immediately. He's setting the terms.
Totally. Inside, it's dark. Only the kitchen light is on, and then she sees it. The entire house is empty. No furniture, anywhere.
Whoa. Okay, that's a major red flag.
Huge. Yeah. He's polite answering questions, but gets irritable if lights are on too long, rushes her, won't open one door, says it's the tenants, respecting her privacy.
Yeah.
Then, in the living room, she sees the front door. It's got a plank nailed across it from the inside.
Nailed shut, okay.
Her creeper meter, as she put it, is going crazy now. She decides, okay, time to leave. Politely wrap it up. But as she's saying thanks, he suddenly brightens up. Oh, forgot the basement. Newly furnished rec room. You have to see it. They're in this little hallway, right between the living room and kitchen. Basement door right there. He opens the basement door, but it opens outward, towards her, basically blocking her path to the back door she came in.
Creating a barrier, controlling movement again.
Exactly. And the basement. Pitch black. He just smiles, gestures down, and says, ladies first.
Wow, that's incredibly blatant. The blocked exit, the pressure to go into a dark, unknown space first. Classic predatory setup. Her gut feeling was screaming for a reason.
Totally. And what happens next is just sheer luck. Some random car pulls up out front. Her phone buzzes with a text. Thinking fast, she pretends it's a call, puts the phone to her ear, loud enough for him to hear. Hey, yeah, are you here? Okay, I'll come out the back and let you in. This place is great. You got to see it. Just pure bluff, acts confident, excuses herself, walks around the landlord in the open basement door, and just sprints to her car. peels out of there.
That's amazing quick thinking, using the unexpected interruption to create an escape narrative.
Right. Gets home, tells her mom and brother, they call the police. Craigslist post. Gone. Vanished.
Of course.
And the police follow-up is terrifying. The house. Foreclosed.
Yeah.
Empty for over 6 months. Abandoned.
So he was squatting there.
Looks like it. That locked room he wouldn't open, that's where he'd been staying. Dirty blankets, rotten food, porn mags. But the basement, this is the really scary part. They found a thin piece of fishing line tied across the stairs. About shin height, halfway down.
A tripwire.
Yeah. Designed to make someone fall down the stairs in the dark. The rest of the basement was empty except for some old blankets, a broom handle wrapped in leather belts, and a box full of tape. Different kinds of tape.
Chilling. Premeditated. That fishing line, it tells you everything about his intentions. She was incredibly lucky and incredibly smart to get out.
Unbelievably lucky. Okay, let's move to another kind of hidden danger, the online world. This one involves stalking, but digitally. Starts junior year of high school. The narrator moved across the country, feeling isolated, having trouble making friends, so they joined Facebook. A few days later, friend request from David. Supposedly a friend of a friend from their old town, someone they didn't really know well back then. Kind of weird, but they're lonely, so they accept.
That vulnerability, loneliness, it's often what predators look for, online or off.
Totally. And David becomes this really close online friend over time. Says he just started university. Lonely too. They share problems, support each other. He actually helps the narrator with practical stuff.
Wow.
University applications, test signups, scholarship forms. Even pays an application fee once with a Visa gift card, so no real banking info exchanged. Gives study tips, emotional support. Seemed like a great friend.
Building trust, offering tangible help. Classic grooming behavior, establishing dependency. The gift card is clever, avoids direct financial trails.
Right. He shares his life details too. Hated his Pizza Hut job, played soccer, apparently flunked out of university, moved back with his mom, tells the narrator they're the only person who knows he flunked out. Makes them feel special, trusted.
Creating that false intimacy, that us is against the world or I only trust you dynamic. Very manipulative.
So fast forward to maybe 3 years. The narrator's family plans a trip back to the old city. Narrator's excited, tells David, expects him to want to meet up finally. But he gets weird about it, not interested, makes excuses. Eventually says his pictures are heavily edited, he's afraid of disappointing them in person. Narrator pushes, wanting to meet, and he turns nasty. Gets aggressive, uses all the secrets and insecurities the narrator shared against them. It gets ugly. So the narrator cuts contact.
The mask slips when control is threatened. When the online persona is about to collide with reality, the reaction is often aggression or evasion.
Exactly. So the narrator goes on the trip anyway, meets up with the old high school friends as planned. And guess who's there?
The real David.
The real David, looking exactly like his pictures. Narrator's confused, then angry, confronts him about how he acted online. But the real David is just baffled. Apologizes for maybe being awkward years ago, but insists he barely remembers the narrator. Says he doesn't even use Facebook, never has. Maybe MySpace, Tumblr, but no Facebook. Denies having their number.
Whoa, okay, so complete identity theft and impersonation. For years. That's incredibly elaborate.
Right, so the group is trying to figure this out. They get a laptop, look at the fake profile. The real David points out immediately the last name is wrong. It's his mother's maiden name.
Subtle change. Enough to avoid easy detection by close friends or family who know his real name. Clever.
Yeah. Some mutual friends on the fake profile were people he knew, but not closely. The profile picture. A dog he had years ago that died. Details designed to seem real, but slightly off, maybe to keep his inner circle away. Older photos were ripped from his old MySpace, newer ones from his Tumblr, which he updated often, so the imposter was actively monitoring him.
Constant surveillance.
And here's the really weird part. Some photos, like pictures from his soccer games, taken from the stands. Real David swears he's never seen them before. The fake David claimed his brother took them, but his real brother never went to those games.
Someone was physically watching him too, taking pictures without his knowledge. That crosses a terrifying line from online impersonation to real-world stalking.
Definitely. And status updates, some were made up, but a lot were accurate. Things he actually did, movies he watched, his favorite ice cream, bands he liked. This person knew his schedule, his habits, everything.
They weren't just pretending to be him, they were mirroring his life in near real time, mixed with fabrications. It's a deep, obsessive level of monitoring.
Before they could dig deeper, the fake profile was deleted. Gone.
Covering their tracks.
The narrator felt completely violated, having shared so much personal stuff with this imposter for years. And then, months later, another twist. Their mom finds a new Facebook profile. Using her name, which happens to be the narrator's middle name, but with the narrator's pictures on it. Old pictures. Profile's active. Friends are all strangers. Updates don't match the narrator's real life at all.
The obsession shifted or expanded. Using the mother's name and the narrator's image, it's deeply unsettling. Same person, likely. Still active, still mimicking, still out there.
Creepy stuff. Okay, let's shift back to something more immediate. A childhood memory this time. 5th grade. Narrator's playing airsoft with friends. Safe suburban neighborhood. Nice area. Up in the hills behind their houses. Just kids having fun. It's dusk, summer evening. They're in the middle of the game. Narrator and a friend, Tegan, find a good hiding spot. Tegan points. There's a man coming down the hill towards them, watching them. At first, they're just kind of curious.
That initial kid reaction, right? Curiosity before fear.
Yeah. Man gets closer, jumps a fence, dividing the properties. Looks normal enough, maybe clothes a little dirty. Then he walks right up, grabs Tegan's arm, and pulls out a syringe.
Whoa, okay. Immediate escalation.
And he says, totally calmly, if I poke you with this, the snakes won't bite.
That bizarre, nonsensical statement. It's disorienting, often a tactic to confuse while they act. But the syringe itself is the clear, undeniable threat. The kid's instincts would have screamed danger, overriding the trust adults programming.
Totally. Tegan yells, the narrator yells, starts firing their airsoft gun, just up in the air, making noise. Their other friends hear the commotion, come out of hiding. The man sees more kids, sees the airsoft guns probably look like real weapons to him in the dim light, and he just takes off, runs away.
Smart move by the kids. Making noise, strength in numbers, displaying something that could be perceived as a weapon. It disrupted his plan.
Yeah. The narrator says they actually kind of laughed it off afterwards, finished their game, then went home and told their parents. Led to announcements at school, a piece in the local paper, neighborhood watch signs went up. But the guy, never found.
Scary how close that encounter was, and how quickly kids sometimes process and move on from terrifying things.
True. Okay, another story involving potential danger disguised as opportunity. This one's told by someone's boyfriend's mom about her best friend back in high school. They're maybe 17, 18, finishing school on a small island in the South Pacific. Getting off the island to study abroad was like a huge deal, very rare. So scholarships come out. The best friend, super smart, applies. A few months later, she gets a call. Amazing news, full scholarship. Covers everything, tuition, allowance, housing.
Wow, life-changing opportunity.
Totally. She gets an official-looking letter, contact details for someone. Her parents even talk to this lady on the phone who explains the whole process. Sounds completely legit. All the friend needs to do is sort out her visa and pay for her own plane ticket. Someone will meet her at the airport on the other side.
It's hitting all the right notes of legitimacy, isn't it? Official letter, phone contact, a clear process. Seems completely above board. That's what makes these scams so insidious.
Exactly. So the day arrives. Big farewells, excitement. She heads off on this amazing adventure, promises to call as soon as she gets settled and finds a phone. She never called.
Oh no.
Days turn into weeks. Family's frantic. They try calling that contact lady. The number doesn't work anymore. Disconnected. They contact the university she was supposedly attending. The university has never heard of her. She's not enrolled. They don't even offer scholarships for students from her country. It was all fake.
A complete fabrication. The letter, the phone calls, the entire scholarship. Just a lure.
Yeah. And that was it. No one ever heard from her again. She just vanished.
That's horrifying. A meticulously crafted deception targeting someone's dreams, leading to who knows what.
Yeah.
The affinity fraud aspect, playing on hope and trust, is just brutal.
Truly chilling. Okay, for our final story tonight, another Craigslist situation, but this one involves caregiving. The narrator was broke, looking for quick cash, finds an ad. Guy says he's disabled, bad back, needs help with morning and evening routines, bathing, dressing, that sort of thing. Narrator has done caregiving before, so this doesn't seem unusual. They chat on the phone, guy seems nice, normal, agrees to go over late one night to help with the nighttime routine. He lives kind of far out, but they need the money. He even offers they can stay the night, since he needs help in the morning too. Saves a trip.
Okay, setting up an overnight stay on the first meeting. That's maybe a small flag, but could be explained by the distance and early morning need.
Right. Narrator gets there. Townhouse. Guy seems decent. Late 30s, early 40s. Has a cane. Pays $200 up front for the evening and morning help. Says he's ex-military. Recent back surgery. Plausible story.
The upfront payment can also be a tactic. Builds goodwill, maybe lowers defenses slightly.
Good point. Then things start getting weird. He offers the narrator wine. Comments on how cute he thinks they are.
Okay, definite boundary crossing there. Unprofessional. Red flag.
Narrator admits they should have seen it as a bigger flag. He then leads them to his bedroom for the shower routine. Gets undressed. And the narrator is horrified. He already has a giant erection. And he wants them to, lather him up in the shower.
Whoa. Okay, the pretense is completely gone. This isn't about caregiving. That's sexual coercion disguised as a job.
Totally. Narrator says no to taking their clothes off, which he surprisingly respects, but then he touches their butt when they bend over.
Still pushing boundaries, testing limits.
Narrator knows they need to leave, but is kind of frozen, waiting for the right moment, maybe trying not to escalate things.
That freeze response is common in scary situations, trying to calculate the safest way out.
They give him the most clinical, unsexy shower possible. He gets out, says he's going straight to bed, but doesn't want to wear clothes.
Increasing the intimidation factor.
The guest room where the narrator is supposed to stay is right next to his bedroom. Narrator's completely on edge now. Gut is screaming, "Get out!"
Absolutely. Trust that feeling.
But there's a problem. They're on the top floor of a 3-story townhouse. He has baby gates installed on each staircase landing, for his cat, supposedly. And he's turned off all the lights on the lower floors. It's pitch black downstairs. To get to the front door, they have to go past his open bedroom door.
Obstacles. Darkness. Proximity to him. He's engineered the environment to make leaving difficult and dangerous.
Exactly. Narrator is quietly trying to gather their purse, planning an escape. They hear his TV is on loud in his room. Then, they see him. He walks from his bedroom to his bathroom. Swiftly. No limp. No cane.
The disability was a complete lie. The cane was a prop.
Complete fabrication.
Yeah.
And he still has the erection.
Yeah.
And he's holding a huge bottle of lotion.
That's the final, terrifying confirmation. His physical capability, his clear sexual intent, the danger is immediate and extreme. The ruse is over.
Narrator doesn't hesitate, just bolts. Quietly as possible at first, then full sprint. Jumps the baby gates like an Olympian. Down the dark stairs. Fumbles with the front door, throws it open, and as they do, his house alarm starts blaring.
He set the alarm, or maybe triggered it, opening the door. Either way, adds to the panic.
Yeah. They dive into their car, heart pounding like crazy, lock the doors, speed away. His number starts calling their phone immediately, over and over. Every single car behind them on the 2-hour drive home feels like a threat. Just pure terror until they're finally safe.
What an ordeal. That quick assessment after seeing him without the cane, the decisive action to flee despite the obstacles that saved them from something truly awful.
No doubt. They finish by saying, "Who knows what might have happened if I had stayed overnight, but I didn't want to stay to find out."
You don't want to find out. When your gut screams that loud, you listen.
So wrapping these up, we've heard about everything from a creepy face at a window to these incredibly elaborate online deceptions, fake scholarships, and these really dangerous in-person encounters disguised as jobs or housing opportunities.
And the thread connecting them really is that moment of realization, like that gut feeling, whether it's the state of a house, a weird excuse, an inappropriate comment, a detail that doesn't add up like the discarded cane, or just that deep sense of dread. Those feelings, those observations, they're crucial survival signals. It's about paying attention, not dismissing the inconsistencies, and trusting that internal alarm bell. Situational awareness isn't about being paranoid. It's about being present and observant.
Yeah, it's a reminder to stay vigilant, aware of your surroundings, aware of how people act, the little details. Thinking about these stories. What details jump out to you? What moments would make you pause and reassess the situation? It's definitely worth considering. Thank you for joining us for this unsettling deep dive today. We hope listening leaves you maybe a little more aware, a little more tuned into those signals that could make all the difference. Stay safe out there.